Good day to you all. We have another reaction video. This is featuring Laila Cunningham, a Westminster Councillor for Reform UK. And she's talking to Kevin O'Sullivan from Talk. The title is Rapist Terrorists. Let's take a look at it now.
Out of a bomb-making cell in Egypt, given a 7-year sentence in 2015. I mean, the list of it's so disturbing. This does, in fairness, predate Keir Starmer. This happened in 2015. But there was a period of time when he was on bail, staying at the Hilton Hotel, for goodness sake.
Well, that's where we place illegal migrants. We place them in 4-star hotels. Ian, this is just... So Labour and Conservatives, let's just get the story straight, have imported foreign terrorists and rapists and placed them in our neighbourhoods. Men who would never make it through Heathrow. Convicted terrorists, but they're rewarded if they come through the back door. I mean, my husband's American. He's got to pay thousands of pounds to get a visa. He can't access public services for 5 years. Yet if he came on a boat, he'd have free accommodation and full access to the, and I don't know if it's full access, but access to the NHS. Ian, we have terrorists that have been come into our country. That is a huge national security. If this happened after 2001, September 11th, I mean, governments would fall for this. And I don't see, we need answers. How many terrorists have entered the country? Where are they staying? Does the government even know? Are they keeping tracks? And what are they doing to mitigate the risk?
And we really don't know. I mean, it's not an exaggeration. It's not a right-wing trope. We genuinely do not know who these people are.
No idea. But Ian, any government who was serious about keeping us safe would take that unknown that you and I just discussed seriously when placing them. You would place them in detention centres where they're not allowed to roam free. But these guys are placed in towns and villages and they're allowed to roam our streets free. It is, to be honest, it's a real dereliction of duty. I mean, their first duty is to keep us safe, and both parties have failed.
Yeah.
And this, for me, is one of the most serious issues facing our country now that we know that we have terrorists that have been let in. I mean, it's maddening. And we're not going to get out because they don't even care.
And of course, it defies, we know it defies the laws of, basic logic and common sense. But, when you're putting somebody with this kind of background, I mean, when they get bail for an offence, and you think, how on earth would this, what in the system could possibly allow this to happen?
I don't know, Ian, but the system, as you speak of, it has to change. The system has failed to protect us.
Yeah.
The system is harming us, and I don't, it is shocking. It left me speechless because not only am I worried for my daughters and myself of being raped by one of them. I live not far from Hyde Park, but now I'm worried. How many can Labour MPs and the government look me in the face and say, we have no more terrorists that we've let in? Of course not. I want to know what they're doing to track them down and mitigate the risk, because they haven't spoken about this at all. In fact, Ian, I was called hard right for calling this out by a Labour commentator. Yeah. I was called far right by an ex-Labour minister for calling this out. People on the march who are marching for this reason were called extreme and far right and a danger to this country.
How does, I know I'm trying to kind of find logic in logical minds, but, you might think whether even somebody on the left who, of course they might fundamentally disagree with you on a whole series of things. Something like this, you would think, surely we can all agree this is either bonkers at best or incredibly, potentially lethally dangerous at worst. Everyone can see that, surely, regardless of their political allegiance.
You would think, but as I said, I was called hard right, and when I said why, he said, well, because you want people to protest in front of these hotels where we place asylum seekers, he calls them. I call them illegal migrants.
Yeah.
He said, these are their homes. And I said, it's not their homes. It's taxpayer-funded hotels. It is so reckless of the government what they're doing to our country. And I want answers, and I know the public want answers. And Ian, what I really fear is that we're not going to get answers.
Yeah. That is the fear, isn't it?
Yeah, it's no longer an immigration issue right now. This is an issue of national security. Why would any terrorist attempt to come via Heathrow or Gatwick when they can just rock up on a boat and be let in?
It's exactly the route you would take, isn't it? I mean, you wouldn't give it a go any other way.
Because you know why? Because it's a guaranteed route.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed entry. That's the mad thing.
Without having any of your papers checked, because you don't have any papers, you could be anyone.
Say a sob story. And you know what's worse? I read in the Daily Mail that the Home Office knew of his history, some of it, and delayed processing his asylum application for 17 months. And you know why? Because the Muslim Brotherhood, incredibly, is not a prescribed terrorist group in this country.
Yeah.
That's how come he could claim asylum. And in any, I don't know, in most countries it is. I don't know.
Utterly bizarre, isn't it? Let's just look at this story as well, Laila, while you're with us. All quite, again, another story in the long list of things that are a little bit extraordinary. The first migrant deported to France under the one-in, one-out deal. Migrant as in singular. I thought the standout part of this story was that he was from India. That in itself is interesting because India very rarely appears on that big old list of countries where people tend to come from. We see Afghanistan, we see Iran, we see Albania, we see Eritrea. We don't really see India on that list, but this lone character apparently was a wrong-un in terms of the fact hadn't committed any other crime other than he shouldn't have been here. Sent back to France, and then France sent him back to Germany. It doesn't feel like this is kind of like this bloke's on the same list as all the others for some reason.
No, well, because the thing is, what people don't realise is that France gets a veto on who we send back to them. So if they don't like that, if that person is too troublesome, put it that way, they're not going to take him. So this person was probably amenable. He said, if you pay for my trip back to India, I'm happy to go back. We don't get a veto, Ian, under this so-called deal. No, and Labour's parading it as a win, when in reality, it's actually an embarrassment.
It is an embarrassment, and of course...
It's surrender to France.
Yeah.
It's not a deterrent, it's an advertisement. It literally tells migrants, you know what, there's about 98% chance you're not going to get on the flight back to France.
And also, France, in terms of the mathematics, so one in, one out, I mean, it's none in for France because they're going to deport this guy elsewhere anyway. So, but we will have a French migrant come back as a result and possibly one of their dependents as well, or maybe more than one. So France have lost maybe 2, possibly 3 or more migrants to us. We've gained more. They are minus, we are positive.
And I bet you they wouldn't take this Muslim Brotherhood terrorist back, or anyone that they seem too troublesome.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, who would sign a deal where we don't get a veto on who's sent back? Only they do.
It's a bit weird. You can almost see this deal sort of going by the wayside at some point when we realise we've got to the end of the year and, 6 people have been sent back. Not really the spirit of a controlled, serious immigration policy, is it?
It's not a deterrent. It's a farce.
Yeah.
And we all know that, the ECHR are legal handcuffs, and they'll block deportations on vague claims such as, I don't know, destitution or like modern slavery, like someone else used. And it won't end until we unshackle ourselves from that. But we know Keir Starmer's a human rights activist, he was, and a lawyer, and he'll never do it.
He will never do it, and it's not, I say this every day, Laila, it's not in his DNA to even care, frankly, and that's the problem. Laila, great to have you on again. That's Laila Cunningham, Reform UK Councillor at Westminster.
That was a reaction video featuring Laila Cunningham, Westminster Councillor, Reform UK, and she was talking to Kevin Sullivan from Talk. Subscriptions are greatly appreciated. It does help the journeys go along. Until next time, bye for now.